guys, and welcome back to one of the story time videos that I do, basically where I chat to you guys about something things that have happened to me just throughout my life so far. And yeah, the first one that I did was the why I started YouTube one. That is what it's titled, so if you're interested in watching that, go and check it out. And yeah, basically after that video, from now on in, every kind of new story that I tell you guys will be in order of the time when it happened. So I'm going right back now to when I was 2 or 3 years old, and it was the first ever kind of main big kind of thing that's worth putting in a story time video for you all, that happened to me. So yeah, after this it will go in time order, obviously up to the most recent, and then I'll kind of stop doing these videos for a bit and just tell you guys about stuff every week, I suppose, if something happens new every week, and that I'll just put it in a video for you all. So getting started, I don't want this video to be too deep now. I was kind of in two minds about doing this video because I was going to miss it out, because it's something that's kind of sad and I don't want that. It's like I just kind of don't want to annoy you guys and be sad and, you know, and deep and things like that, because obviously that's not the aim of the series. But at the end of the day, it's the first major thing to ever happen to me, and it played a massive part in my life. So yeah, I kind of have to include it. It would be pretty pointless for me to do this series and not mention it. So basically all it is going back to when I was 3 years old. I think it started then. I had this rash on my legs, and I was feeling poorly. So my mum and dad took me to the doctors, and the doctors examined me and stuff, and they said that it was just a heat rash, because that's what it looked like. To be honest, it's very, very similar. It was a lot harder to diagnose in those days as well. Even though it's only 15 years ago, it was quite rare and difficult to diagnose. So it's understandable, and I hold no grudges at all. But yeah, that's what the doctor said, and it was summertime as well, so kind of made sense really. I think they said it was a heat rash or a sweat rash, because babies and toddlers are always on the go, always playing, and get hot quite easily, and they do just sweat a lot, so they do get a lot of sweat rashes. You'll know if you do have younger siblings in your family, or children of your own, basically. Yeah, you will know that. But yeah, that's what the doctor said anyway. So I went home, and that same night I was falling asleep on the sofa. I must have had a bit of a nap. Now, it's difficult to kind of remember everything, because obviously this is something that happened 15 years ago, and I was only 3 years old, so not a lot of it stays, and a lot of it feels like it was just a dream, but it did actually happen. So I'm going to go off the few memories that I do have from it, and also what other people have told me, like my mum and dad and my relatives, what they've all said. So basically, yeah, after going to the doctors and stuff, I fell asleep on the sofa, and I remember waking up and feeling just so ill, really weak more than anything. And I tried to my mum was in the kitchen, probably making tea, I think, or dinner, whatever you call it, and I tried to get off the sofa, and I managed to obviously pull myself off the sofa, but I couldn't stand up on my legs. There was just nothing. It was my legs were just paralysed, and it hurt as well a bit. It was kind of weird to explain. I just remember having this really weird feeling in my legs, like they were numb and not there. And obviously I can't remember if I shouted or if my mum must have just heard me fall, and she came in and just saw that I just wasn't right at all. She said that I was really pale and just frail as well, just really weak, and just overall looks like I was on death's doors, basically. So she obviously spoke to my dad. I still had this rash, and I think my mum said that it had gotten worse, and she did this glass test, which is what you have to do for this illness. Apparently you do this glass test, and it tells you, like, it helps you diagnose it, and she said that it was a thing called meningitis, because that's what she'd heard of, that's what she'd looked up on the internet and stuff, and that's what it looked like. So my mum was, like, obviously panicking, and took me to the hospital with my dad. I remember going through to the hospital, looking at my dad, and all of a sudden just being, like, absolutely surrounded by nurses and doctors. There was about 7 or 8 around me, being pushed on this bed thing, what you have in hospitals, and taken to a ward in the children's hospital around Stoke-on-Trent. So yeah, I was in there, and that was, like, literally the last thing I remember was looking at all the doctors, and I looked at my dad and I was like, Dad, where are they taking me? I was like, you know, what's going on? I was only 3, so bear that in mind. That was, like, the last thing I remember of before. Then afterwards, basically, while I was kind of under the influence of all of these, like, medicines that they put in me, and just all of that kind of stuff, I must have been out of it or something. Probably put me into a deep sleep or whatever, because the painkillers and stuff and the drugs in general were very strong, that were trying to fight it off. It turns out it was meningitis, and the type that I had was called septicemia, which is where you can lose your limbs, it could kill you basically, but yeah, you can end up losing your limbs, you can end up being deaf, you can end up being blind, various different things. To be honest, it's not a nice, obviously, no illness is nice, but it is very nasty indeed. And basically, like, the doctors had gone to my mum and dad and said that your daughter might only have 2 hours to live. So like, when my mum and dad told me that, like, in the years after, when I was kind of thinking about it, and because obviously as a 3-year-old, I haven't got that kind of mindset to ask, like, what's going on and stuff. And when I got older and I was able to think about it more, I started to ask my mum and dad questions, and that's why I know all of this that I know now. And they said that, like, the doctors had told me I only had 2 hours to live, and just thinking about it, it's like, wow, like, honestly, it's unreal. Just thinking that was the case, like, back then, and then 15 years later, I'm still here today. So it's absolute miracle, to be honest. And just, yeah, fair play to all the doctors and nurses. So upon the road to recovery, I guess, after being under the influence of that night and everything afterwards, I was on a drip for a long time. I do vaguely remember little bits of that, just walking around the children's ward, playing with toys, and having this little drip thing with me that I had to carry, not carry, but push around with me. It was only little, so hardly heavy, but it's just like where the medicine was still, the drugs were still, like, going into me, and a drip is just like where it's on a timer, I think, and it just, like, every now and then it just injects a few bits into you to just obviously make sure that you're still having your medicine on time. It's better than having a needle constantly. So yeah, I was on a drip, and then eventually started to get better and better and better. I was well enough to come off the drip, and then it was down to, like, my body to just fight off whatever remained and just repair itself. So I went home, and I just had to keep going back for blood tests. And as far as I know, all of the blood tests, every time I kept going, were showing greater and greater signs, like I was getting better and better over time. Which is all good, to be honest. Yeah, well, of course it's all good, but the last kind of memory I have of recovering from meningitis was, I think, yeah, actually, that's another thing. Before I talk about this, when I was at home, I was hardly eating and stuff, because it just does really affect you. It affects you in a lot of ways. And I remember my mum and dad scaring me, saying, like, if you don't start eating, you're gonna have to go back into hospital and stuff. And I was like, no, I don't want that, because I'd just been in there and stuff, so I had to try and eat a bit more, because I was, like, scarily thin. When I do, like, show you guys, I will eventually show you guys my photos when I was younger and stuff, all in good time. But when you do see them, if I am scarily thin, then now you know why, because I was going through all of that, and it took me a while to be able to get better, fully better and a healthy child again. But yeah, the last and final memory I do have is going for my final blood test, I think, and getting a smiley face sticker. That was the last thing I remember. The nurse was really nice as well, so it's all good. Yeah, I got better in the end, so I'm just, I don't know, I feel like kind of glad and happy and very lucky to still be here, because that obviously is the case. I see a lot of cases of it now, and I've heard, like, not recently, but over the years I've heard about children that have had it and have lost their legs and have gone deaf because of it, and just various different things. People have died from it, so it's, it's kind of, I do feel lucky that I am still here. And one thing I will do is put link in the description to just more information about meningitis. There's a lot to talk to you guys about in one video, and I did, more than anything, I didn't want this to be an information video. I wanted it to be me sharing something with you, what happened to me, basically. So that's the whole point in the series. But yeah, if you are interested in looking it up, then the link will be in the description. It'll be for the official page, and if you're feeling like helpful, there's a donation option on the website as well. So yeah, I think in time I want to do some charity work for them, for meningitis.org, just because it's obviously a charity that's like really close to me. So yeah, I could perhaps do similar to what the Maverick Wolves did for their charity, and that was a live stream on Twitch. So I could do something like that, and they did like a 24-hour stream. So I could do something like that. I could do something a little bit different. I'm not 100% sure yet what I am going to do, but I will definitely be looking to do some charity work with them in the future. And yeah, I'm sorry if this video has been too sad for you and all that kind of stuff, but if I'm doing this series, then I figured that I have to do this video. It's something that I'm absolutely fine with talking about as well, so I just, to me it's just something that happened, and I'm over it now. Luckily enough, I was really young when it did happen, so I couldn't really have that fear of being severely ill. Like, if it happened to me now, obviously there'd be the mental kind of illness as well, of worrying and being worried and scared as well. But because it happened to me when I was younger, I didn't understand the severity of it, I guess, is a better way of explaining things. So, sorry this video's dragging on for a little bit now. I hope you have in some way enjoyed this video, or just, I guess, just learned about me a little bit more in this video. If you've got any questions, just feel free to comment them below. I will be doing another one of these videos very soon. I just need to work out in order what was the next big thing to happen to me. Now, from basically all that I know of, there will be no other deep videos like this, really. Yeah, this is going to be the saddest one, unless, of course, something happens to me tomorrow, or, like, in the future, of course. But yeah, I'm good and healthy now, and that's it, really. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all very soon with another video. Bye.